how do you propel yourself when you have, or you feel like you have no sphere of influence? And what do I mean by that is, let's say you basically want to grow, you want to develop, you want to improve, but the problem is you may not have people around you that you feel like you can build that momentum with. And it's a common thing. It could happen. I mean, it's definitely happened to me. That's why I want to share my take on it. And what I mean by that again is, you always hear this thing where the five people you surround yourself with kind of shapes who you are, right? It kind of shapes the way you think, it kind of shapes the way you act, and eventually kind of it has such an influence where your worldview is, or your world itself, your reality is kind of regarding the five people. So for example, what would I say that? Let's say, actually, I'll just give real life examples. I used to be in a position where I was, this is years ago, where I was hanging out with the wrong kind of people, meaning the probably the five people that I was really with definitely weren't like driven. They weren't like people that wanted to improve from themselves. And I noticed this because, like, whenever I would bring up concepts like, like, let's try and work on this and let's do this, like, I would always kind of get shut down. Like, it's not the, like, that was definitely not the priority. And because of that, like, I always thought that it was maybe what I was thinking is not right, or like it was not right because the whole crowd was, that kind of sphere or influence was pushing me in another direction. And when I realized, like, actually, like, there are other people quite similar to the way I want to be, to the way I think, then I realized the importance of making sure of having those kind of people, and multiplying that, of trying to reach out to people like that and kind of keeping them close, because it really did have a positive effect. Because when I did have people where they were a lot more driven, a lot more, into wanting to improve themselves, then it was nice to talk about that kind of thing on a very frequent basis, because it's kind of reaffirming to myself that this is a good path to go down. And then as a result, you start seeing a momentum shift in yourself and your actions, and your reality starts to shape and accordingly and change in the best way possible. So I think that's very important. So having the five people, that's just a quote, but having people around you who have very similar visions, have similar philosophies and ideologies, is a good place to be. But I understand that it's not always the case. It's not always accessible like that, because if you think about it, you could be in a position where you really want to change. You really want, what you want, you really want to improve on that. But if you look around yourself, and you view the people that you commonly interact and hang around with, it's not necessarily the best environment to be in, because you can't really express that. And when you can't express that and you can't talk about that, because you want to be able to talk about this, express these thoughts, these ideas as frequent as possible, because it goes subconsciously into your mind, and the more you talk about it, and the more you interact with people like that, the more you get uplifted as a result. And it's the momentum is crazy. But I understand you might not be in that position. You might not be in a position where you can talk about that, because I've previously been in that place. So what did I do differently that allowed me to have people of that kind of nature? Well, number one is, within the people that you know, and acquaintances, and like people, friends of friends, or like, people that are kind of reachable, basically, try and think to yourself, from these individuals, who is worth me trying to get close to? And I don't mean this in a way where, like, you want something out of someone, even though I guess that kind of is what it is. But what I mean is, like, who do I want to connect and share my ideas because I feel like it resembles with them. And when you think of it like that, it's a two-way exchange. They get something out of it. They get to be in your world, and you get to have a person that has the same philosophy as you. So you get to be in their world. So I think number one is connecting like-minded people. And so looking at people through friends of friends, expanding your network, reaching out to people that you feel like, I know it's scary at first, reaching out to people that you feel like can actually, that you can actually be friends with. It is scary. It's not easy, for sure. But it's one of those things where when it happens, it happens. And then there's the other one. And this is the one I've taken, the route I've taken down, and it's extremely helpful to me and it's improved me. But it's also one of the things that you can do from day one. After watching this video, you can go ahead and do this. And it's so actionable. And that is identifying people that influence you, people that motivate you, and people that naturally bring this kind of spark that helps you. Because whenever you watch them or you listen to them or you read about stories from them, you just feel like you're ready to take on the world. You feel like you're ready to do what you're doing at extreme lengths, and it kind of kickstarts you, and you wish that they were your friend, basically, or you wish that they were in your life and you were in their circle, but you understand that it might not be the case. And what do I mean by that? I'm talking about, so for me, some of the people that really influence me are, I've spoken about them before. One of them is, I've been listening to like these YouTube videos on and podcasts a lot. People like David Goggins, people like Andrew Huberman, people like Alex Hormozy, but it could be anyone, like Sam Sulek, all these people, right? These people that really take their personal development in seriously. Like that's the key theme here. They take it seriously and they want to improve. I've just named a few people there are tons. But these are people that, like, in the position I'm in right now, I'm not able to go and meet them and be friends with them. I just can't do that. It's not the situation or the scenario that I'm in. And I completely get it. There's no way I can do it. So what do I do from this point on? It's very simple. What you have to do is you have to consume, because if you think about it, if they were in your lives, they're in your lives so you can talk to them, so you can consume their ideas, you can consume their speech, their ways of thinking, and obviously for you to communicate what you have as well. But the issue is they're not here, right? So what you have to do is you have to consume as much as you can from the people that influence you. So for example, from you have to consume videos. So some of the people I mentioned have podcasts. Let's say Andrew Huberman, he has got tons of podcasts. So I would literally watch all the relevant podcasts that I feel like would help me, every one of them, and I'd pay attention to them. I'd pay close attention to them. I'd watch them frequently. For sort of people like Patrick Bet-David, I'd listen to so much of his content. I also have his book I recently bought. Same thing for Alex Hormozy. I bought both his books. I listen to his content a lot. And I just consume. That's what I'm doing. I'm just being a sponge here. I'm consuming as much as I can. And the point is not just consuming as much as I can, but it's also as frequent as possible. So I'm doing this every day. Every day. I'd do this on the train from work. I'd go to the gym. Sometimes instead of music, I'd be listening to a podcast from them. As frequent as possible. It doesn't also have to be just videos and podcasts. It can be different media. It's just, the point is you're taking in a lot of information any way you want. It could be through books. It can be through podcasts, listening to them. It can be through YouTube videos themselves. YouTube Shorts maybe. Point is, you have to surround yourself with these people. If you pick your best 5 people and you just consistently consume their knowledge and their speech and the way they think, over time, let's give it 3 months first, all right? You're doing this every day. Small things change, right? Small habits develop. Over time, you're in a position where you then have accumulated a lot of them, their parts of them, into your character, right? This is how character development starts to kick in. And then now you feel like, right, this feels good. And it's not just a feeling, it's once you start acting on it, right? If you're doing if you're consuming the thing, then you're acting on it, then your output should increase. And this is what's happened to me. My output's increased. And then when I start naturally talking about these concepts, even with people that I'm very close to, then I realize, okay, there are certain people that understand this, and then they come back to me and they're like, okay, cool, I want to talk more about this, like, and then that's who you can really, build something with. And there are other people that don't understand this, or they don't really like talking about this. It's completely fine, right? You just need to pick your team. That's it. It's like, I always refer to games, but it's like when you play Fortnite, you're playing Battle Royale, you want to choose your best, 3 other people for your squad. You want to choose your best squad. That's how you win these battles, I guess. You have to be the number one. But yeah, I can't believe I use Fortnite as an example. But my point is, you will surround yourself with those people once you start putting in the work as well, and you keep constantly listening. And it's nice. And I've also even noticed that, me talking about this with people that aren't like, again, friends of friends, just in normal settings, and I wouldn't purposely even talk about this, it would just naturally come out because I've been consuming so much of this information that, like, a lot of my speech and a lot of the way I think now is just from different parts of other characters, and it's my own take because of my own perspective and my own experiences, and then me giving that through different, speech or whatever to other people. I've realized actually, so what happened was last week, there's a friend of friend, and he is now a close friend, I'd say, or is becoming a close friend, because he reached out to me and he was like, he really likes the way, like, I, was telling him about something, and then he's asked me that he's really into this, wanting to improve as well. So he wants to basically find little kind of networking events basically in London where, we can just go and just learn from other people. And he asked me if I want to do it, and I was like, of course. And then that was something like from someone that was a friend but like wasn't close to at all, to now potentially being a very close friend, because like I've been able to attract that just because of being able to talk about these things. And I think that also comes down to like that sphere of influence, that initial sphere. So using those people from the internet that I've not actually ever met and they don't know I exist, using them as a sphere of influence to create your own sphere of influence is very much doable. It's very much doable, and it just takes, it takes a lot of consumption and a lot of action, and you'll get there. But yeah, even my videos, right? So like, you might be watching and you might feel resonated, and hopefully you do. You obviously, honestly, just reach out to me. I've got a Discord as well, so there's a lot of people that also feel the same way. And I'm sure we can always talk about these kind of things. But yeah, just wanted to say that it's an important video, and I actually really want to address this, because sometimes you can be wanting to improve and you want other people with you in that journey, but it can be very lonely because not a lot of people would, buy into it really. But there are ways to have your influence, your sphere of influence. Good luck.